You figure it out?
No. So we're on,
Yeah,
Erica.
we're live.
Oh,
Hey everyone, welcome to the Thrift Shop Hustler channel. Today we have that's me. I done it. I did the thing everyone does. All right, let's start this over again. This isn't live or anything.
yeah. No, this is
So I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. We're here with Jacob and Erica, Portland Pickers. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey.
excellent. Erica is recovering.
I just got my wisdom teeth out today, so bear with me.
Yeah. So you wanna tell us a little bit about how your day's been so far with that whole situation?
I got up this morning and they ripped out my teeth.
It escalated quickly.
They actually had to cut bone to remove teeth that were underneath, and it actually was like 30 minutes and it was done.
It was very fast. I was like in the lobby reading, got through like 5 or 6 pages. Not that I'm like a particularly fast reader, so actually that's a horrible metric. And then they were like, Jacob? And I was like, oh, okay, they're done.
Yeah,
Fast.
they said I was an all-star. That I went to their Hall of Fame of their hearts because I took it so well. So
Now, did they give you those glasses for free as like a prize for being a champ?
So I try. It's my birthday tomorrow too, so I tried. I did it. I was like, "Hey, it's my birthday tomorrow, and I'm getting my wisdom teeth out. Can I have a prize?" And they did give me a prize. And my eyes feel a little funny, so I was like, "Oh, I should just put on some glasses."
That's great.
As well, free makeup.
So so I have some questions for you real quick about the wisdom teeth because I had my teeth pulled out a very long time ago. I don't look it, but I'm almost 40 years old, so this was like 20 something years ago. And first, I want to ask, how many teeth did they pull out? Just the bottom two, or or all four?
I have three. I had three taken out.
So wait, you. So why is it an odd number? I'm curious.
There's a long story, but when I was younger, I had a molar that was removed, and then I had braces, so the wisdom tooth grew in and closed the gap. So I have one that's there, but it's fine.
Didn't be.
So I
Ah,
have to take the other top one out, but they said it was just like there was no tooth underneath it, so they might as well just pull it too.
there you go. So I had all four taken out in one day, and I wasn't as lucky as you were for it to be so easy. They had to actually smash the two bottom one out with a hammer.
Oh God.
Yeah, the guy had first off, the guy was like probably in his 80s, so that was not a good sign walking in.
Steady hand.
Steady hands,
Oh,
totally.
straight.
And then so he's saying like basically he's trying to pull them out like normally, they put all the million shots in your gum so that you're numb and everything. And then he's trying to pull them out, and basically it just wasn't happening. So he told me that he had to smash them out.
No.
So
Were you
he say that again?
awake?
Say
For,
that again?
were you awake for the procedure?
Yes, because I didn't have any money, so I couldn't be I couldn't like the best they can do is just shoot me up with all kinds of stuff in my gums. So I was awake during this whole thing. It was like 4 hours probably.
Damn.
So he pulls out this like medieval device that's like this sledgehammer kind of looking thing, and he proceeds to like take an ice pick that it looked like and like put it in my mouth and just start hammering down on it to get the teeth broken up.
So
Uh,
then long.
and then he pulled them all out, and then like I was jacked up for like days over that stuff. Now is my could you guys hear me okay? Because my audio sounds weird on my end.
No, you sound clear as day.
Okay, good. I think what happens is I have a 14-year-old and he likes to steal my audio equipment,
Mhm.
and then he breaks it, and then he switches it with the because I have multiple of the same kind because I always love the same kind of thing, and
Oh,
he'll switch it off with the broken stuff. So yeah, I know you guys don't have kids, but I was telling Jacob the other day some of the fun stuff that goes along with having kids and stuff like that. Okay, so Adam Exploit says your audio is low on your guys' end, so I'm gonna try to do a little bit of maneuvering here to bump up your audio. Because Jacob, I can do that on my end, so you're good.
Okay.
All right, that should help. Let me know in the chat if that helps for sure. And dude, it is really like bugging me, this whole thing. What's going on with my mic?
They did leave some roots, like, so that was like the thing. She said they are going to be a possibility, kind of freaking out, but she said the roots were close to the nerve, and that like the crown of the tooth came out like clean, so they just left the roots in, and potentially they might just make their way out or this thing. Which I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun at all. But it was funny watching your Instagram story today. And so, by the way, Portland Pickers, their information is below if anyone wants to go and follow them on Instagram. I've been following you guys for a couple years now. I think we met through Nicole State on one of her live shows, and I think Corey was doing some live shows before also. And that's where I met you guys. And you guys are very awesome people. And I've been following your story for a while. I'm pretty much like a lurker. I like to lurk on people's accounts and see what they're doing. And I'm sure everyone does that, you know, and it's fun to see you guys and doing your thing and how you've evolved over the years. And it's just really cool. You know, it's really cool to see you guys doing well and staying positive. Cause you know, there's a lot of, I don't want to say drama, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in life and this and that. And you guys have always stayed positive. And I really appreciate, you know, all that, you know, all that positivity. Cause there's some days where, you know, it's going bad for me and I'll watch some of your guys' stuff and everyone's having a good time and that lifts my spirit. So thank you definitely for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's when you're self-employed, there's daily hurdles and self-doubt. Like we all know it. So you have to have that voice that checks that doubt. Otherwise, it will take over.
And a community to, like, you know, when you're feeling down, bring you up. But then it also can bring you down too. So you have to, you know, balance it.
Yeah, you definitely got to regulate everything. And that's actually really good advice, you know, about like, you know, trying to regulate everything for sure. So I got some questions for you guys. I got the questions. They're here.
Oh,
Woo. So so I was reading your Instagram profile and it said that you've been on eBay since 2007. Is that both of you? Like, when did you guys meet and how did you guys start your eBay journeys?
So that was, you've been on eBay.
Yeah, that's me personally. And so that started like back in high school because I didn't get allowance and I always did like little odd jobs and such for family, friends, or just wherever I could pick up some income. And then I saw it sounds like an eBay commercial itself, but I saw an eBay commercial, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll try that out. And you know, it's really easy to have success when you do like a 99-cent auction. So I sold a couple things, and it didn't really like there wasn't any momentum to that. So it wasn't until probably 2011, 2012 that I actually saw there was an opportunity to source to sell.
You were just things that you got.
I was just, my own junk. And I was like, oh, I could buy other people's junk. That's a great idea. And, friends and family and stuff like that who were like, oh, you're selling stuff on eBay. Here's all my stuff on eBay.
You got roped into selling other people's things?
Always. I always do. I still do. I'm a sucker for that. I like the fact that that you can be a source for someone else to have some financial gain. It's not just all about I have these skills and I'm going to hoard the benefit for myself. To be able to share that is really cool.
Yeah, I know that feeling because my dad and my brother will do that all the time. You know, they I know my brother knows how to do eBay, but it's easier for the guy that's been doing it forever to
Yeah.
do it.
No, and that's the thing too is I always volunteer myself and my time to show and to teach, you know, as opposed to just being like, "Yep, give me your stuff, and we'll do a little split at the end." I I love the idea more of teaching others how to do it, but you are actually inclined to do it themselves. Just
Yeah,
I think they see the learning curve, and well, people are just like,
yeah. Well, we want to welcome Adam's Exploits Flipping Hustle. We had Yong in here. Hope everyone is having a great time tonight. I know I rarely do any live shows, and we've been kind of back and forth ping pong and trying to get this together. And I really appreciate your guys' time. So, what were the first things that you started selling when you started off?
yeah. So it was my own stuff, things that I had from childhood, uh, Pokemon cards, N64, um, yeah, stuff like that, which is sad because now it's like that's the stuff that everyone really is looking for. And back then it was, yeah, you were still getting decent value out of it, but now it's like doubled in its collectability.
I've told this story a million times before, like garage selling like 15 to 20 years ago was a trip because I would go to garage sales and there would literally be like one person there, if anyone, at these garage sales. And literally the Nintendo games would just be flowing out of boxes. People were all about like PlayStation 1 and like N64, like the new stuff, and they didn't want anything to do with old Nintendo games and stuff like that. And the stuff was plentiful back in the day. As a matter of fact, I had a website where I had a price guide for Nintendo games and stuff like that because we had this local place called Game Dude, which they had their own price guide, and I started a website off of that price guide. But anyways, I know exactly what you're talking about. And Pokemon's funny because I started when I started doing Yahoo auctions. Oh, what year was that? Maybe 99, 2000. Yahoo auctions were a thing. I was doing Pokemon cards like crazy because that was like the huge thing. And it's crazy to see those Charizard first editions or whatever the hell they were going for like crazy money that are graded now.
I remember that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was the kid collecting it in that scenario where you were selling it, but I remember that.
Erica, did you ever get into the Pokemon stuff or was that were you too young for that?
Oh, I actually was really into Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like play in school, like we had desks that like went all the way through to the next, like the person in front of you, and we would through the desk like during class.
This is how we met.
No.
So wait, so there was a hole that linked two desks together in the middle?
Huh?
Wow.
Pokemon through it.
That I've never heard of that before. And so is this okay, so let's back up a little bit. You guys are from Portland, Oregon or in that area?
Originally from New Jersey.
Oh, okay, you're from New Jersey and that's where they had those weird like tunnel desks.
I was gonna say that like incentivizes not paying attention and passing
totally.
notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I guess that explains a lot of East Coast things because we had kind of it was our own personal space.
Yeah. I moved here to Portland for art school, and I graduated, and then I met him like my last year of college, and yeah, I didn't do anything online like eBay. I didn't even shop online, and
Wasn't privy to the game. She didn't know what she was getting into.
because we started spending so much time together, I started seeing him doing it, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm here. I should just help you a little bit." So it was just like a little bit of like clothes at first, like isn't your favorite thing to do, and I like clothes, so then I started doing whatever clothes he had, and
plus going out to like estate sales and thrift shops, like Erica has a different eye than I do, and but she has a keen way of observing what I pick. And so then she ends up catching things that I'll miss and then pointing out value where I don't see it. So it's a great collaboration.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great gig there for sure.
And then like when she started, well, she was going to school at the time, and writing and doing art, and so it's like these skills fit perfectly into
that
eBay
like
in terms of when you're like drafting a listing or photo, you're, you're focusing how am I communicating what this is, and how am I going to make sure that the person that wants to buy this can find it. And
Right.
so, and I was like, Erica's got those skills, so this is great.
so then
That's
helping started really being like we're working together now instead of just like whenever.
yeah. So who does all the photography and listing, or do both of you guys do that now?
Both.
We share in that. So essentially, there's the like typical things that I'll do and that Erica will do that she enjoys listing more. So I'm just kind of like, choose the things that you're motivated to list. Because if you're not motivated to list, you do it slowly, and you don't do as good of a job.
And it gets put back in the pile if I don't know.
Yeah, you look at it and you're like, next. Thank you, next.
I totally know that feeling.
I
Yes.
like to do art. Art is like one of my favorite things to list.
Mm-hmm.
Clothing's pretty easy for me to list. It's not my favorite because it doesn't sell as much, but it's my favorite like because I understand all the keywords and stuff like that.
So we're gonna get to the art. I actually have it written down here. But first, Adam Exploits in the chat wants to know, what platforms do you guys sell on?
So eBay is, I'd say 90, 80 to 90%. That's where we see the income, and just because that's where we time list, because it's the least restricted platform in what you can list and what buyers are looking for. And then Amazon is my second highest platform because the ease of listing and also the value that you get for your item based on the average Amazon customer. They're just willing to pay more, but they are expecting a little bit of a premium service and quality product above what an eBay customer is like. They're just happy it arrived, not broken.
I've tried like other platforms for clothing, like Posh,
Yes.
and I haven't had any success there. I don't know if it's just because of the stuff we have or what, but I have not sold one single thing in Posh, and I've only listed like 10 things, but so
It probably
I
comes
see
down
it.
to that numbers game where it's like you need to list 50 things, 100 things before you see that,
and it's like
5%, 10%
people want
sell
new
through or
stuff
something.
there. They want like modern clothes more, and we have like a lot of vintage stuff or men's clothes or.
Mm-hmm. And there's a different kind of curation of the listing, and being so heavy into eBay, you kind of get stuck in curating your listings that way. So it makes it harder. Just again, out of not taking the effort to do it, but with eBay being as successful as it has been for us, there's not a lot of incentive for us to seek other platforms to sell. Just because the diversity in our inventory, like eBay is just, it's worked out really well.
You have done a little bit more Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. I found that where, as something maybe larger or not, I'm trying to think in terms of like a rug or
Right, something big and heavy.
yeah, that I'm like, I don't really want, I can ship anything, right? We can ship anything, but do I want to ship anything?
That's a good point for sure.
And so Facebook has been a really good marketplace for local deals because it has like a slightly elevated credibility over Craigslist, and a, a personality that, yeah, just makes it a little bit more friendly, I think.
Right. And the people are kind of verified. You can kind of look at their profiles. You can see whether or not they have an established profile. I actually agree 100% with the Facebook Marketplace. I've used it a few times. I'm not a fan of meeting people to go exchange goods in a parking lot. So I don't do it all the time, but I mean, one could literally have a great side hustle with just using Facebook Marketplace as a sole thing for sure.
How often do you use it?
The last time I've used it was like months ago, like
Oh,
literally months ago, and I can't even remember. I think I sold a large collection of Star Wars figures.
there you go.
Yeah, so instead of like parting it all out one by one and getting $10 to $12, I just sold everything for like $300 or something like that just to get it out the door. And what's nice is I have a couple of storage units. That's basically my warehouse. And I'll have people just meet me at the freaking gate at the storage unit and I'll wheel the stuff out and they'll just be right there. And that's usually how I do it. Um, yeah, it's scary, but it's just what you got to do sometimes.
And I think the Facebook makes it a little bit more safe than like Craigslist
Totally.
and less scammers because on Craigslist there's a lot of people who are trying to scam you.
100%.
Right, for sure. So let's talk about what kind of sourcing do you guys normally do? Do you just kind of do garage sales? I know that you guys have done estate sales. Like, do you do retail arbitrage? What's your deal with the sourcing?
Estate sales.
Estate sales all day, every day. Um, yeah, estate sales are really heavy for on my list as far as how we source.
And there's a lot of them in Portland.
There's a abundance. So every weekend there's minimum of 10 estate sales. At least this is the trend that's going on for the last 3 4 years. There's always a 10 estate sales going on, sometimes to 35, 40 estate sales. And that's not even considering garage sales, um, yard sales, which it's like I don't have time to hit all, but the sourcing opportunities are insane. There's an abundance in Portland and Beaverton, Vancouver, like whole Northwest is just like a good pile of you could there's just like not enough time to source in all the ways that you could. So I've found my specialization estate sales because it it represents things that perish that they don't let go, and ultimately, and sometimes by choice, weren't able to. They pass on, liquidate, and so you're really getting. And not to say that like thrift store or garage sale represent the same opportunities because you have networking or building a relationship with the person who's having this and then kind of getting into their treasure or like that they're like, well, I don't really want to let it, but like I relate to you and you can appreciate my so I'm gonna share that with you. But with estate sales, it's it's crazy the kind of stuff you come across. I mean, it's really with where you go to buy. You're gonna come across stuff if you do it consistently.
Yeah. There's well, what's nice is there's two of you, right? That go to usually, so you guys can basically double team an estate sale, which is if you're going to a estate sale by yourself, it's overwhelming. But if you have two people going to estate sales, that's awesome, right? Do you guys feel me? Is that correct?
For sure.
100%. And even then, it's still like if I'm doing it weekly, my like stress level tends to like decrease. But if it's been like a couple weeks, maybe a month since I've gone to an estate sale, which has kind of been the case at the beginning of this year, just because I sourced so heavily, and it's like I need to tackle my files more. And so, like after a month of not going, getting back out, I feel like, am I gonna? Is the thing that I wanted to be there? And like how aggressive is it going to be? And then you get there and, you know, there's so much stuff where like things, they're picking up the thing you want. You're like, and then they set it back down and you're like,
yeah, but how do people, because the way we do it is that we look up the sales a couple of days prior to the weekend because they show all the pictures. Sorry if it's hard to understand me.
No, I can hear you. You're good.
So they show all the pictures of what the sale took of the house, so you don't see everything. But you know, like, I want this, this, and this, so then, like, either one of us goes straight for those things, and then the other person can kind of see what else is left behind, because sometimes you end up leaving with something that wasn't even photographed.
And that's another thing that I would point out that's a huge benefit to estate sales is the company is typically creating a listing for the sale. They're advertising kind of the like headliners of what's going to be there, and then like some of the supporting junk. And so that will paint a picture of what kind of things this person owned. So then you can kind of put together, well, if they own that, they probably own this. And or if they had expensive tastes in regard to this, maybe they do in regard to their tools or their shower products. You know,
Right. You're digging through someone's pantry, which is so weird to go into the kitchen and there's like half-eaten flour for like $2. And you're like, why the hell would someone price this shit? Like,
and then you buy it, and it's the best biscuits I ever made.
and then you're like, that's where they hid all the money. All their Okay, so speaking about that, what have been some of your best finds that you can recall? Krillin's being funny. What are some of your best finds that you can remember for estate sales? Like the crazy thing that you found that was worth a ton.
The first thing that comes to my mind when we're talking about hidden things.
Yeah, totally.
Was, I mean, I wasn't there for it, but
you can. Well, then you can prep it.
Okay, so there was a free sale that was advertised on Craigslist. Everything go, whatever you want. Like, you needed to get everything out. Did they have a sale there?
Yeah, so like the week before they had a regular sale.
So this is like whatever trickled down that was left, and we have a neighbor across the street from us who's like a junkyard, which just so happened, like, it just so happened that we moved in, and this guy who collects old Fords and scrap metal and likes to, you know, go digging through junk lives across the street, and Jake and him have become like close friends. And he's like this old man who's kind of crazy.
He's like almost 60.
And
we're just out thrifting together.
Yeah. And so they're like, Jake, it was so weird. He just woke up that morning like super early and was just like, I feel like I need to go somewhere today. And then our neighbor calls and he's like, hey, there's this free sale. I want to go head it up. And Jake's just like, okay. I was still in bed, like I hadn't even woken up yet.
Which anyone calls me and says, hey, do you want to hit up the sale? I'm gonna say yes. It's not. I won't think that hard about it.
So I'll leave out the story of what happened there, but they come back and they have this box, and it's just like this janky, like taped shoebox.
Taped too much.
There
was too much tape on it,
and it was heavy. And then he just walks in, and I go, "What'd you get?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "What do you mean you don't know? They hadn't even opened the box yet." All right, you tell us.
So yeah, free sale. We go to it, and the people working there are just like, we walk in and there's prices on stuff. They're like, yeah, ignore the prices, just take whatever you want. We need the house emptied out by the end of the day. And so when I go to a sale, like I'll like glance around the house and see if there's anything that catches my eye. But typically I'm gonna head to like the shed or the tools or the garage or the basement, and I'm gonna see what things were like overlooked in those areas. Pre-sale, so I'm just like, oh, do I need this bit or this tool, or like what's gonna be like a good easy flip in this garage. And so my neighbor and I are just making buckets. We're making piles, and like he scraps stuff, so he's like, "Oh, brass, copper, ooh," he's just grabbing stuff
He
by
sounds
weight.
just like that too.
He's like, "Oh, boy," So loading up, we're making piles. We load the truck up. We're about to head out, and I'm just like, let's take one last look, because sometimes I actually do that a lot. I'm like, okay, I looked over, but what did I miss? And so I went back into the garage and I just looked up, and I was like, there's actually a lot of stuff like hanging and that I didn't really observe. And so I'm like, let's just take the stuff down. They're gonna have to take it down. So we're unpiling stuff, and there's a shoebox. And like anytime you see an old shoebox, that gets you excited, especially when it's too heavy for shoes.
Yep.
And so we kind of looked at each other and we're just like, get it. So we got it, and we're like, all right, we're done here. We found the thing.
You knew it was heavy.
Yeah, it was intriguing. So we get home.
I was like, it could be bones. Like
some heavy lead bones.
Lead bones. So we get back, and Terry and I are sitting in the truck, and we're kind of shaking it around, like kids on Christmas. And we're like, who's going to do the honors? Like, do you want to do it? I'm doing okay. So we open it, and it's like costume jewelry. It's not anything that extravagant. There's like little bits of turquoise stuff, nothing too fancy. So we take that layer off, and then there's like some serious sterling silver, like
toys,
blossom necklaces.
Oh, you got a squash blossom necklace in there?
Them.
Wow.
Coral.
Chunky silver rings with like native, like Zuni designed stuff.
Signatures on things.
Yep, because the Zunis, they have that particular tribe. They're known for their inlays. So they use the coral, the white buffalo, and the turquoise. I've been studying a lot about that stuff lately. For anyone that's watching this, just go to eBay and search squash blossom necklace, and some of them literally go for thousands of dollars. Now, continue with your story. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. So yeah, in total now we've probably realized around $6,000 of stuff out of that box, and there's still a few $100s worth of stuff left. But
that's such a great story.
And some people are weird about it being free, like, oh, I don't fuck with free money. Oh, can I curse here?
You did, so I guess it's okay now.
If you find it and the people are okay with it, that's fine, I think. But some people think there's bad luck if you're just taking things for free.
Were you guys able to nail down the tribes for the particular squash blossoms?
A couple of them, I think so, but I did the research, and my brain, once I'm done doing like the research for that thing and I have to research something else, like it kind of it goes out of my mind. Like,
but were you able to at least kind of come to a tribe? Was it Zuni or Navajo or something like that?
It was a mix of the two.
Yeah, Zuni and Navajo. We had some like little Zuni rings that were like of little ladies, very cute. I think we had a set with a necklace and some rings. We had some big, thick men's rings. Mm-hmm. It was crazy.
It was very interesting. And like in the garage of all places, it was like a detached garage too. And the house was not anything like, this wasn't an upscale house. So it was very odd.
Well, think about I watch a lot of YouTube videos about like treasure finding and all this kind of stuff. And I noticed like anytime you hear about people finding crazy stuff in a house, it's usually in a basement, it's usually in an attic, or it's usually under the floorboards or the wall.
Oh.
Have you ever found something like in a wall?
No, I've never taken down a wall. I never had the opportunity to open up a wall to see anything. But yeah, it's usually, if you watch some YouTube videos, there's usually like a carpenter or someone that's doing renovations, and they find, like, a chest of something. I think there was this huge baseball card find that was in an attic one time that went for like $3 million or something like that. And what it was is, it was basically the shoebox situation where there was an old dusty shoebox and it was in between a wall or something like that. And they pulled it out and it was like mint condition, like 19 teens something or another, that was like in mint condition because it never saw light. The UV hasn't got to it, so it's graded extremely high. And for those that are in the baseball card business, old cards that are graded high are really hard to come across. So they literally graded all the cards. Some of the packs were actually in the pack still from like 1920 or something like that. It was crazy.
That, and I think like the thought of that is like it's kind of a secret motivation of the treasure finding aspect to doing this, because you know that it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and you guys, and we're gonna get into the art stuff in a second, but I think like the thing that people are gonna find that's the money maker, if it's not jewelry, obviously, is gonna be art. And I've found like pieces at Goodwill that go for hundreds of dollars before. I've done that a dozen times at least now. Um, so art is one of the things that definitely people should look out for. And Erica, I know that you're an artist, and I actually I really like your artwork. And I'm just not just saying that because you're on the show right now. Like I'm an artist, I guess. I do some art and stuff, and I really like your style. Like you have this it's hard to explain. It's like collaging. It's like this kind of photograph and colors and collaging. Is that kind of correct?
That's correct. I like the idea of, I think it started developing when I was trying to make like hybrid paintings, like other ways to make paintings. So I was always making collages, and I like to use like portraits as references. So I would like break up the portraits into colors, and then I would go find the colors and cut them out in the shapes that they needed to be to lay in the way. Um, and I've experimented with that many ways, and I just like a way for me to channel my hands, and I just like it's one of the most fun things that I can do with my time.
Yeah, I think you're really talented, and this is like seriously from the bottom of my heart. You should continue to do that stuff because you do have a talent, and I have an eye for art and just stuff that looks good. And I think your aesthetic is really good. And I think like I've kind of been a little bit a part of the art world before, and it's a beast. It's a beast. It's all about who you know in the art world to get over it, like literally. And so, if you really want to continue with that, you're gonna have to definitely go do the schmoozing and all that stuff. And have you ever sold any of your artwork online before?
I have a little bit, but not like anything big. I mean, I always list my stuff on eBay just because just to see. So I have sold a couple things, but
Do you have an Etsy account?
I do have an Etsy account too.
Do you
And
put your stuff on there?
I have, yeah, I have it on there, and I'd like the Society 6, it's called, and it's like you just put artwork and they put it on things themselves, and you just
Hmm.
make a little bit of a commission off of it. But that takes out a lot of legwork for me if somebody wants like a bag with my art on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've made a few, a few dollars here and there with that. And that's just kind of a set it, forget it, and then you get paid whenever somebody buys a thing. So,
So it's just your art on like a T-shirt or a keychain or something print on demand.
exactly. But it's like really good quality, and it's like curated, all artists. It's not like, you know how like Amazon has like the Amazon merch where it's kind of could be like anything. Like this is definitely like artists are making this this stuff. So
That's cool. I wrote that down. Society 6. I'm gonna look into that. I've never heard of that before, so that's interesting for sure. But I definitely suggest. I know you have a passion for art, and I say just go for it. I've had so many ups and downs in the art world. I've had, geez, I don't even want to get into it. It's not, I'm here to interview you guys. You guys are the stars of the show today. So, for I get a lot of kind of comments on my YouTube videos from new sellers. I want to know this and they want to know that. What are some of the failures that you've came across in your years of doing reselling that you can probably pass on to a new seller so that maybe they can just be warned about something? Or what's one of the, like, you guys know sales pretty well, so what are some of the tips that you can, or some of the failures that you can, how can I say the tips too, like what are some of the pitfalls of estate selling?
Um, Buying something without the intention of selling it, I think might be a big one. Like, kind of know whether or not your your motivation to resell is there when you're buying, because with like early sellers, there can kind of be like you're buying for yourself and the selling is second, as opposed to understanding that there's a demand for this product, or there's a craftsmanship and a value in this item that has a sell value above what the price is. And also understanding like not paying too much for something so that there's enough room after fees and shipping. And are you going to cover the shipping? Do you know how to ship this item? Um, Actually, one thing that strongly comes to mind is glassware. So when you're just starting, glassware, you could probably put that on the back burner unless you already feel confident in uh, and trust USPS with your packaging abilities. Otherwise, just focus on focus on hardy items or hard goods that are going to be easy to ship, and that starting in a market that you have some understanding of.
Yeah, I always say do things that you already know about or already like, because the research aspect will be fun for you and also easy for you, rather than picking up this thing that maybe somebody else says is valuable and you don't know where to begin, and then you kind of keep pushing it off until like you're like, okay, I have to sell this thing. Definitely start with what you know.
Yes.
And you'll learn every single day something new after that. And also at estate sales, last day is usually 50% off day. So if you're starting, that's a great, like, there's still a treasure. Vic, he still does 50% off day almost.
I pretty much started exclusively going on the half off day because I'm frugal AF, and that's where I was like, I saw great opportunity, especially with doing buyouts and bundles, because the last day they want it gone, and they're a lot more flexible on their pricing if 500 people have come through the house and no one was interested in buying that collection of dolls. So then when you walk in, you're like, oh, they got it priced at $100. Maybe I'll ask if they'll take 20 or 25 bucks for it. And generally they're like, we can't go below half. But then there's the other occasions where the owner doesn't have that minimum set, and they're like, they know your face. They're like, yeah, sure, that's fine. 20 bucks. Do it. So don't be afraid to build relationships and reach out to the people who are running the sale, because they'll think of you, and they'll also treat you favorably if you go there and spend money. It's a business. They want you to buy their stuff, and they want you to come back. So they'll give you a little bit of flexibility and negotiate with you.
And usually, if you have a big pile, they don't want to take everything out of the pile and price everything. So
they're like, just take the whole damn thing for $50.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Also, another thing that I see often with people who are either kind of on the not really into reselling, or even people who are really set in what they resell, is they will disregard certain categories or items. They'll just be like, those don't sell. or those things don't have value. And like, I can't tell you how many times my neighbor has been like, those aren't worth anything. And then I sell it and he's like, oh, you got $50 on it? Yeah.
Give me an example real quick if you can remember something like that.
So he's very informed on like pre-70s Ford stuff. So if I find anything that's newer than like 1975,
It's junk.
he's like, oh, that's new junk. It's junk. Or even older automotive stuff that's in the realm of his knowledge, but it's stuff that he hasn't had good experience with selling. So,
or sometimes you just break that thing apart and you're like, I'm gonna sell this part and this part, and then
right, there was like a Chevy transmission that was
I remember those posts about that thing.
there was like the Chevy transmission at the sale, and it was like $50. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, well, you have the case, you have the internal gears. Does it actually shift? Yes, it does. You have the shifter, like uh, the shaft, the plate. Like, I sold $500 off of that transmission in total, and that's not neat at all. Like, anyone can do it anywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say and I think that's why you did it, is because most people aren't gonna spend the time taking all that stuff apart. Did you have to clean up any of the parts?
So yeah, I mean, it had oil in it still, so I drained it, and then uh, I think I might have just bagged some of the parts, but yeah, some I did wipe down. Like, that's another thing, is like, I will dig through the garage, get dirty, and I'll come home, I'll spend the time to clean stuff. Whereas, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the great opportunities, is the dirty stuff that's in the basement, that's in the garage, that's the tag doesn't stay on it, too much dirt. It's just like hanging on like that's funny, and that's what I a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you're one of the few people that I know in reselling that actually will bring home those crazy like 50-pound pieces of metal. Like, that's all I can describe it. This hunk of metal.
Yes. Yeah, and so like, if you just imagine like what the process is to cast and manufacture that, people aren't and the fact that it's the original era piece, not an aftermarket piece, people will have them demand, like, they'll take it down to a shop and have the seals redone or have it sandblasted and painted. People cherish the older stuff, and the more you do it, it's true with that in like every category: clothing, electronics. I mean, how much like vintage electronics do you do? Quite a bit, right? Do you?
No, not a lot. I mean, the thing is, ever since I got this new job, I rarely like go sourcing anymore. I'm horrible now, but I don't come across too much vintage electronics anymore. Not like it was. Like things have changed so much in my area. Um, I don't like dealing with big bulky things. Like, you enjoy big bulky things. I've been the guy that always liked to ship baseball cards in a zero bubble mailer with that weighs like less than an ounce. Like, that's my that's my jam. I want to get those little items like rings that sell for like $150 and not deal with the mammoth size junk stuff.
And that's the thing, is so like, there's opportunities on like the whole spectrum, right? Because a lot, and I think that's the thing. There's probably like that curve where it's like that there's exponential opportunity with the harder it is to deal with.
Exactly.
The more research, the more obscure, the harder to transport, the harder to find the buyer. That's where it's going to be underpriced and undervalued. And but again, then it's like, well, do I want to deal with that? And sometimes no.
Right. And I mean, and that's to be honest, that's what I respect a lot about you guys, is selling the stuff that most people wouldn't even think about. Because I knew a guy that would literally go and get like this heavy ass truck, a 16-wheeler brake pad or something like that, and he'd be like, "This is like $500," and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, "No way, it's like a piece of junk." Like, so I hear you, man. That's really cool. Real quick, I know that I don't know, are you dabbling in real estate now? What's going on with you guys?
So back in 2015, um, got this house. I have a mortgage, but you say I bought a house, but you have debt.
Right,
So, but the idea is you now have a place that you live in that you can work out of, that you can store inventory, and you need somewhere to live anywhere. You need somewhere to live anyway. So why not experience appreciation? And obviously that is a privileged perspective because not everyone has the ability to save enough to have a substantive down payment. But through doing eBay, working another job, like you have to have multiple streams of income. It's just what you have to do. Unless
right.
very fortunate one source. Um, but yes. So now I'm looking at, okay, so how can I make that I'm saving now work hard? I mean, doing like resale this business is incredible. You can go out and spend $100 and you can like reasonably double your money. You expect to like triple or four times your money. And on like a fairly normal occasion, you can 10x your money, right? So
Right.
this is a great business model for leveraging your savings, your money to work for you.
I think I'm fading.
Um,
We're gonna wrap this up very shortly, we promise. You've been a trooper.
but yeah, but real estate is something that it appreciates. It's uh, someone will live in it and pay you, so it can be a source of income, and it's a store of value because it's always going to have that. So
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to try.
Yeah. It's like a new thing. Like here's the thing for me. Like I feel like I'm always been a big kid, like I like collecting toys and all this other shit. And I feel like real estate is literally the big boy game. And when you get into real estate, that's like, I don't care what any reseller says. If they make 6 figures, 7 figures, I don't care. Real estate is where the money's at and where the big boys play. And I know I'll probably never get to that level. So like, that's another thing where I think you guys are awesome, that you're doing something that's just next level.
and I want to be an example because I I I feel like any reseller has exceptional skills and that those can be applied across so many different like platforms and areas of life. Just the nuggets of how the business operates, you can take those to so many different things. And I want that to real and yeah, anything through it. There's so many different creative ways to leverage. It just becomes exponentially harder the less money you have, the smaller your network is, and the less creativity you can muster. But if you have hella creativity, a good network, then the money isn't going to be irrelevant because you can leverage other people's money, which
Yeah.
is easier said than done. But my hope is to have a decent amount of savings, build a decent network, and then use the creativity that I can muster along with other people and make some stuff happen.
Yeah, that's great. Like I know a few people that have rental properties, and that has saved their asses in like economic bad times. That money is always coming in. They have basically real estate that they can turn over if there's something that catastrophic happens. They can turn it over really easily. So, dude, I'm very proud of you guys. I'm glad that you spent an hour of time with me today. I really appreciate it. I know your guys' time is very valuable. And like I said, I wish you guys the best of luck. Erica, I hope you feel better with your teeth and that you pursue your art career, because I honestly, really, truly believe that you're very talented. And Jacob, man, like 10x that shit, dude. Like, you're gonna do it, man. You guys have such a great attitude about everything, and honestly, I can feel that you're gonna be very successful in your lives, and that's what I feel. So,
and it's all about doing the things that make you happy, even when they're stressful. They'll make you happy, and if they don't, find another.
I'm going to leave the show with that. That is probably the best advice I ever heard someone on meds say. So I really wish you guys best of luck. All their links are going to be below, everyone. I really appreciate you for tuning in. Everyone in chat, Adam Exploits, Krillin, Anna, Fortuna, and Anna and Deb, thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next time. Their links are below. Take care.